I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key.
Hi everyone! Today we are going to deconstruct, literally waving, through a window from Dear Evan Hansen. First of all, my shirt, tip of the hat. Center of the Park with George! Because it's from the museum in Chicago. Neither here nor there. Okay, so the first thing, what we're going to overlay this song is, first of all, there are two tips of the hat to Wicked throughout the whole thing. On top of that, the other overlay is Ben Platt is amazing. So just throughout it, I'm going to be just pointing out a couple of Wicked tips of the hat, and then the entire time I'm going to be saying Ben Platt is amazing. So the first tip of the hat to Wicked is introduction, people. Sound familiar? The theme of it? What about this? When I meet the wizard. Tip of the hat. Tip of the hat. Okay, the next thing I want to give praise about is bench Pasek. I always thought it was Pasek, like Pesach. Any Jews in the house? Anyway, it's actually Pasek. It's not the point. I love that he does not rhyme plurals with singulars, because that, first of all, it's not a rhyme. And there's so much plural and singular rhyming out there, it drives me crazy. So it's singular with singular. And where do I point that out? Because someone could say I've learned to slam on the brakes, because some people use the expression brakes. He does not. He says I've learned to slam on the brake, which by the way also makes sense because you literally have a brake in your car. You don't have multiple brakes. The point is he says brake and then mistake. It's a singular rhyme with a singular. So budding lyricists, please keep your rhymes pure. Thank you. Then I love that Ben Platt just starts out so small, like you don't realize how amazing his voice is going to get, but there's a lot of straight tone happening, which totally makes sense because this character is like, oh, I'm shy, so why would he be like, curtain up? I love that it's totally straight tone and, oh, I'm shy. But there's little essences of riff. Before I even, and by the way, those riffs, just on a side note, it's definitely a little bit of, my bar mitzvah. There's definitely a little bit of Judaica in those riffs, which I also love, but you're going to hear that. Before I make a mistake, you're going to hear that. Also, the first really fluid riff, before I leave with the worst of me. So I can't do a fluid riff, but I love worst of me. It's very, very fluid and delicious. Then I love his sort of Pat of the Pone scoops. Pat of the Pone will be on the note she was on and then go to the next note. Give them no reason. Instead of give them no. It's definitely tip of the hat to Pat of the Pone. Anything else I want to say in this section? Oh, yeah. I also love that it goes, so I got nothing to share. Now, it's a really long phrase. So I got nothing to share, which you kind of want to hold the note. So I got nothing to share. But why someone that has nothing to share would be holding the note for so long? Ben, I never realized how similar. But the point is, Ben is really smart because he goes, because I got nothing to share. It's just totally empty because he's like, I have nothing to share. So it's actually excellent mixing the acting with the singing. Is that all I have to say? Okay, here we go. I'm so excited. First of all, tip of the hat. When I meet the wizard. Okay, forget that.
I've learned to slam on the brake
singular
before I even turn the key. Before I make the mistake.
Another little riff. First fluid one.
Before I lead with the worst of me.
Nice.
Give them no reason to stare.
No. Hear that?
No slipping up if you
now listen how straight.
Away. So I got nothing to share. No, right? I got nothing to say.
Okay, now it's tip of the hat to Defying Gravity. How, Seth? Because, I don't know if you know Defying Gravity, all this stuff was on the end of 4. So it's like, by the way, I'm sure they were not like, we're going to make like Defying Gravity. I'm just saying it totally reminds me of it. And also, Wizard and I, it just reminds me of it. So anyway, but look how it's all on the end of 4. See, on the end of 4, I'm flying, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and same thing. No, say. Da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's all this and a 4 throughout the whole thing. Funkadelic. Okay, what else I want to say? By the way, I'm actually reading my music. Normally I have it like all written out in a sheet, but I actually downloaded the music. But which, by the way, you should pay for. No bootlegging, people. Pay for it. I had Playbill pay for it. Neither here nor there. Keep getting burned. Oh yeah, I also want to say that Justin actually writes in a lot of the riffs. So there's extra Ben Platt riffs, but then there's stuff written in like, instead of going, keep getting burned, he goes, keep getting burned. So a lot of the actual scooping and riffing is written in the music, just saying. Defying Gravity. Okay, here we go. You're going to hear it. Oh, I keep forgetting I have to push it down. Here we go.
No, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned.
See?
Step out of the sun because you've learned.
So, yet again, define gravity and a 4. Now, he goes, on the outside, always looking in, will I? Now, what I was, of course, thinking is, what happens when this transfers to London? Because it goes, evermore, will I ever be more than I've always been? Because, you know, in London, they pronounce it bean. They don't pronounce it bin. What am I talking about? How about in Evita, when she goes, but that doesn't mean I should change my routine. But the original British lyric is, but I'm no has-been. It's the same old routine. I'm just saying, I think when they go to London, I was experimenting. On the outside, always being seen, will I ever be more than I've always been? Then I'm like, wait, always being seen? It's literally the opposite of what the song is about. It's about never being seen. Oh, on the outside, never being seen. Hey, tip of the hat. You can see my lyric. Are you listening, Benj? Silence? Okay, tap, tap, tap. Now, what's interesting is that he goes, I'm waving. He actually adds an I'm here, which he doesn't do later. And I was thinking, is it easier for him to go to falsetto? I'm waving, instead of just going, waving? I actually don't think it's easier. I don't understand why he adds an I'm. It's not in the music. Ben Platt, if you're listening, tell me why in the first verse you do, I'm waving, but never again. Curious. Here's the thing I'm the most obsessed with. The most delicious. It's not a rhyme. It's not a rhyme. It's not a riff, nor is it really a mordant. It's, I don't know the phrase for it. It's like a turn. But he goes, for an answer to appear while... Answer to appear while... But it's so much quicker than that. I had to rewind it 1,000 times because I'm obsessed with it. Answer to appear while... Okay, listen to the fluidity of that turn. No, I'm waving. He adds the I'm again, and I don't know why. Get back to me, Ben Platt. Here we go. Is this the next one? Oh, God, I don't quite know how to work this. I think it's this. Here we go. Yes.
On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? Cause I'm tapping on the glass.
That's the I'm.
Waving through a window, I try to speak, but nobody can hear. So I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. Here, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. I'm waving through a window.
I love that too. Okay, I'm gonna keep going though. Can't keep obsessing about this. Now, what I love here is if I were writing the song, because I'm not a composer on any level, not creative musically, I can play something if you give it to me, but can't create anything. I love, he goes, is anybody waving? Now what I would do is, because I'm a terrible composer, I go, is anybody waving at me? But what they do is they delay it. Is anybody waving back at me? It's so smart. It's just so different than what I expected. Because I would be like, is anybody waving at me? Terrible composer. Okay, here we go.
I'm waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving
at me?
Back at me?
That's how it goes. Terrible composer. Okay, the next thing we have to talk about is the amazing orchestration. Alex Lacamoire. I love how the strings come in slurred, and then after that, détaché. Anybody? But it's slur, and then it's détaché. It's not even like there's a slur where you connect it with a bow, and then you can play like this, but it's actually détaché, so it's much harder and harsher. That's what I love about it. Anything else I want to say about it? Oh yeah, oh my God, then it gets amazing. We start with stars in our eyes. But it's an amazing string part. Diggy-diggy-dee-dee. Obsessed with that. Thank you, Alex. Diggy-diggy-dee-dee. Happens twice. No. Okay, here. That's where we go.
Is anybody waving back at me?
Slur.
We start with stars in our eyes. We start believing that we belong. But every sun doesn't rise. And no one tells you where you went wrong.
Okay, then, I'm obsessed with high notes, I'm obsessed with riffs, but I'm actually obsessed with Ben Platt's low notes. He sounds so rich on step, out, step. It's just like so delicious. It's not like step, out, step. It's so rich and delicious, his low notes. He goes even lower later, which we'll talk about. Oh yeah, then really, really smart writing. on Justin's part, because it goes step out of the sun because you've learned. It normally goes because you've learned. But second time through, which I love, when something repeats, I'm always like, you've got to make it a little bit different. So instead of because you've learned, it goes because you've learned. Really, really smart. So it's like, it's the same lyric, it's the same chord structure, but it's a tip of the hat to a melody change. It reminds me of, you know in Baby, she goes, that her child will feel when I'm long gone. But the second time through, she goes, her child will feel when I'm long gone. I just like doing a tip of the hat, change the melody. Okay, here we go.
Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned.
Defying gravity.
Step out of the sun
Melody change.
because you've learned.
Okay, next section. On the outside, oh, looking in, will I? You know, he's from New York, but he doesn't have his signature accent that I grew up with, where I would actually say water. He goes, will I ever be more? There's definitely Julia Murney, Norbert Leo Butz, Emily Skinner. Not quite as harsh on the R's, which I love, but he definitely pronounces his R's, which when I was his age, not at all. So I just say brava for pronouncing R's. Tapping on the glass. Now there's no more I'm waving. Now it's just waving. But by the way, he actually belts it. Can't do it. But he just commits to it. Waving through a window. Oh, then Alex Lacamoire strings. Now I don't know if it's all détaché. Yeah, just name dropping détaché. I don't know if it's bum 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 or if it's literally all down bows. You know in Phantom of the Opera, da 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 ba 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 ba. There's a whole section of Phantom of the Opera where they're all going down bows. It just is a much harsher sound. So I'm wondering, I should have asked Alex before I did this. But the point is, I just love bong gong gong gong. It's either détaché or it's all down bows. I'll point it out when it happens. Yet again, that turn I'm obsessed with. For an answer to appear, well, oh my God, I can't do it. It's so good. Why can't I do it? Why was I cursed with this trachea? Waving through a window. Oh. Okay, here we go.
Because you've learned on the outside, always looking
Ever?
in, will I ever be more than I've always
R's.
been? Cause I'm tapping on the glass.
No, I'm right on it.
Waving through a window, I try to speak, but nobody can
Hear the
hear.
strings?
So I wait around for an answer
Turn.
to appear while I'm watching people pass.
Up the octave.
Waiting through a window.
Now,
Can
let's talk about that for a
anybody
second.
see?
Because it's not, oh, it's oh. It's like a riff. So it's not, oh, it's oh. Oh my God, it's so good. I love it. Hold on, can I play this? I don't quite know how to work this machine. I think I did this. Did I just delete the whole song?
Because you've learned on the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? Cause I'm tapping on the glass.
Belt it.
Waving through a window.
Straight.
I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass.
Belt it.
Waiting through
Riff.
a window.
Do you hear it? It's a combination of vibrato
Can
and riff.
anybody see? Is anybody waving?
Oh, I love this too. Is anybody waving? He doesn't do the back at me. It actually goes to the next section, which I love. Anybody waving when you're... And then it goes right into it. Okay, yet again, the low notes, the richness of the low notes. Okay, is that what I play next? Yeah, okay. Listen to the richness of the low notes. It's so delicious. Okay, here, let me just... I think I go like this.
Is anybody waving when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you ever really crash or even make a sound?
It's so low and so rich. So first I'm like, okay, wait. He's literally on a low A, and then he has to go waving. I'm like, he's singing a 2-octave range in the song. Who else sang a 2-octave range in a song? Crazy low note. Does this sound familiar too?
Just a little touch of star quality.
That's a low E. And then in the same song, she had to go to a, same thing as Ben, had to go to a high E. Okay. But then I realized waving through window modulates. So instead of waving, he has to go waving. He has to go actually, not 2 octaves. He has to go an octave and 1/2 step. Who does that? I'll tell you who.
I'm not that good.
Low E. But then, remember this?
I'm flying
Tune
gravity.
So, I'm like Idina Menzel does the exact same thing. However, not in the same song. So, Ben wins. However, I tell you where he doesn't win. His low note is an A. And I'm like, surely there's a lower note hit on Broadway. There is. But not by a man. That's right. Lauren Bacall in Applause actually goes to an A flat. I'm not joking. People, this was on Broadway.
Hurry back. It's no life at all.
He's on this note. She went to this. A flat. What's the note?
At all.
Oh. Okay. That was a woman. That's not my point. My point is he sounds amazing on low notes. Okay, let me keep going to the next section. When you fall in a forest. Oh yeah, what I love is that the section keeps building. So it begins here. It kind of keeps the melody keeps kind of going up. Actually it's like chord inversions. You learn that in theory. But what I love is that to help it build also is they added the vocals are coming in. As far as I know, Justin did the vocal arrangements, who actually wrote the music. The vocals come in to start building it. Here, listen. Oh no, I have to do this now.
When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Did I ever make a sound?
So, yet again, two things happen here. A, tip of the hat to possibly Burt Bacharach. Burt Bacharach was always inserting like 6/4 measures, like promises, I'm all through with promises now. I don't know. So it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. It's just crazy. 6 into 3/4 into 4/4. My point is, he goes, even make a sound, it becomes a 6/4 measure. Even make a sound, 5, 6. On the outside, but so that's the first cool part. Second cool part, yet again, defying gravity, because the chorus comes in on the end of 6, or even make a sound, 4, 5, 6. So it's yet again that and, which I'm totally obsessed with. Okay, so I'm gonna point that out. Oh my God! Then the drums are coming in, and I couldn't even really figure out their exact rhythm until it gets to this amazing triplet. So you're gonna hear it. It's so exciting. It just builds it. Okay, I'll point it out. So the first thing you have to hear is that it goes into 6/4. Chorus comes in on the and then the drums are unbelievable. Here we go. Orchestrations are are Alex. Also, Chris Yankee did some, but I assume Alex did this whole song. I don't know why I assume that. Maybe Chris helped. Who knows? Here we go. I don't know how to work this stupid ass thing. Sorry.
And it's like I never made a sound. Did I ever make a sound?
Okay, hold on one more time. Of course, I counted it wrong. Wait, hold on, one more time. But I was right when I came on the end. But listen.
Sound, it's like I never made a sound. Did I ever make a sound?
Isn't that great? Drums. Oh my God, did you hear that? That is such great orchestration. All the way up beat. Let's B flat. Now, I love the orchestrations here. They're going, He goes, waving through a window, 1, 2, 3, 4, It goes so well with the melody. Here, listen to this. Here we go. Here we go.
I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass.
One more time. Hold on. That turn. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Listen to that riff.
So I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass.
And the end. Now that's like that riff. Because now he's doing it's a combination of full vibrato and a riff. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm sorry, I have to keep obsessing about it. So delicious. Can anybody see? Now, I didn't even mention this. There's so much great use of dynamics in this song. Dynamics means like louder and softer. So much use, and I'm sorry I haven't brought it up, but it happens all the time. Like, is anybody, this first of all, subito piano. Subito means sudden, so, and piano means soft. Is anybody, bum. Is anybody, da, 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 da. It's really, really good use of dynamics. Okay, anybody waving back at me? Okay, then he goes, is anybody waving? I have to say, it's a little bit, because he actually adds an N. He goes, is any, which I think it's so you don't have the glottal, you don't grip it with the vowel, because I think it really hurts your voce. He didn't go, is, he goes, is anybody, which is the same thing as the wizard and lie. It's the same thing. And lie, adding the L is the same thing as niz. Niz anybody? I'm just saying. Then, what I want, actually, well, let me just first play you that, because I'm obsessed with it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so, first the dynamic thing. Okay.
Can anybody see?
Ready?
Is anybody waving back at me?
Here we go. Ready?
Is anybody
Okay. Niz. It's totally an N because is, ow. Niz. Delicious. Here, listen. Once again.
back at me? Is anybody waving?
Then, I love this. Straight tone. By the way, those are B flats. Here's the thing. It reminds me of like Lilius. When I heard Lilius and How to Succeed, I was like, wow, she's belting a D. Then I got the music and it was an F. Like, I thought it was on a G. I don't know if those are B flats. Waving. That's crazy high. But anyway, what I love is that he straight tones it. Waving, waving. He has the vibrato. Delicious. Waving. Then, the final thing I want to say is, well, here, sorry, just first hear that. I'm going to just keep committing about little tiny things that I love. Here we go.
Is anybody waving?
Straight tone. Now this, whoa, I didn't realize this, all in one breath, whoa, whoa, all in one breath. Same thing as Patty, with one look, I'll be me, all one breath. But he goes, whoa, and then, oh my God, the last note, the delicious release of the vibrato is so satisfying. Okay, here we go, sorry. Did I push this? I knew I didn't do that.
Can anybody see?
Yes.
Is anybody waving back at me?
Go N.
Is anybody waving?
Straight tone. One breath. In conclusion, it's all amazing. Peace out.